3rd, 2025 special meeting of the Aransas County Navigation District. I'd like to call the meeting to order with a quorum recognized and open up with the pledges of allegiances. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. And yesterday was Texas Independence Day.
Are we not going to get Martin? Is it going to be no? Okay, at this time, any person may speak to the commission. Citizens to be heard. I have one application. Jeff Hutt.
It should be two.
Oh, two. I see. I only see one, but I believe you. Oh, wait a minute. There's it.
There it is, hiding.
Pat, why don't you update us on the aquarium? Please.
Did you want Jeff to go first?
No, ma'am.
No, you can go first.
I'll go first.
Ladies first. Lady.
Thank you. Pat Russo, 187 Heron Oaks, and County Commissioner Precinct 3. Want to wish everybody a happy Texas Independence Day, which was yesterday. I hope y'all remembered and did something to celebrate Texas. So I just wanted to give you a brief update. Keith knows a little bit about this. A few years ago, some years ago, we had a storm that knocked down the aquarium. Okay. Then we had an architect who came in and developed some drawings. We had them revised because there wasn't a bathroom, revised again, and we were set to go. But that's when y'all were finishing out your break fronts, bulkheads, sorry. And so we postponed that project because we understood FEMA and we wanted to get those roads fixed. And by the time that work was done, things had fallen apart, let us say, with the insurance and with that architect who was going to do the aquarium. So now we have just finished an RFQ to hire a new architect for an aquarium, which, although that sounds unwieldy, as Dr. Chris Mace, who's the president of the Friends of the Aquarium, said, basically we need a shell of a building because they have a lot of the tanks already done. And a couple of the big tanks have to be built on site, and that's with FEMA money, which runs out at the end of this year. Okay, so we've selected an architectural firm. Keith participated in that, and the firm is the one who designed the Texas State Aquarium and then also their expansion. They're out of San Antonio, and I think they're very reputable. They had good recommendations, so we're excited about that. However, we need that project to start pretty soon. We haven't met with the architect or any of that yet. We just approved this as Thursday, I think, at another special meeting. But the FEMA money runs out for the Friends of the Aquarium at the end of this year. And if that happens, those tanks won't be built. They won't be purchased, and the Friends of the Aquarium don't have the money. So the good news is we have someone selected. We think we're going to move forward. We want to work with you all and just get that aquarium done. So we're excited. And somebody said, what happened to the old one? I said, it's kind of like the courthouse and the Harbor Bridge. There were just a lot of difficulties. So thank you.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question? Is that allowed? I'd like to, what is your time frame? You just gotten the architect, so then you'll have to select an engineer?
Well, good question. We are trying to set up a meeting where Chris Mace, who is the Fish and Wildlife Department head, but he lives here, but he works in Flower Bluff, and he was out of town all last week in Washington, D.C. So we're trying to find a time where he can meet. The architect had suggested maybe a Zoom meeting, but I would really like for them to come down and put eyes on that. So how about if I can come back maybe at your next regular meeting and give you a time frame?
I mean, I think that's really a critical piece of
Right,
information.
it is. And we don't want to disturb anything, but it's not going to be a project like the Texas State Aquarium, I can promise you that. What we had before, I mean, I don't want to just, well, I would like to, but I don't think it's going to work. I would just like to show the new architect kind of a schematic of what we had already approved and let them design the outside and finesse it. But I don't know that that's the way they might want to handle it, so we'll see. I mean, maybe we can just show them what we previously had and they can build on that. But I'll be glad to come back in 2 weeks when I have some
The timing is
information.
pretty critical for us.
Yeah, it is.
If it's shoved toward the end of August, it probably would work out okay.
It would be a miracle to get started after Labor Day anyway. By the time the architect designs his plans, you get an engineer, you go out for bid for a contractor, and then construction actually starts. These months go pretty quickly.
I believe in miracles.
Okay, why don't we end this on, as my dad used to say, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, so y'all rock on and keep us informed.
Thank you.
We'll be good. Thank you for the update on that. Okay, Jeff Hutt.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I'd first like to say, really thank you to Commissioner De Leon, who really came on to the Navigation District and really pushed for a sense of financial transparency and accountability. And I think that's what ended up leading to the, one of the big things that led to the cashless system on the beach. I was really excited to hear it. We talked about this for a lot, I've talked with you, we've talked about the community, and it opens up a lot of possibilities for our community. What I'd like to propose today is a resale program where simply put, where the Navigation District sells passes in bulk via credit card to vendors, and vendors are able to turn around and sell those passes to the public for a $12 price, a $2 convenience fee. The lead group in this would be the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce will serve as one of the primary merchants involved in the resale process, promoting the program and coordinating with other vendors. Other vendors could be convenience stores. Local businesses will act as vendors, providing tourists and residents with ease of passes. And finally, the Rockport Fulton Maritime Program. Students for the Maritime Program will play a key role in busy days. They will buy tickets in bulk, and they will work the line, and they will resell for cash on the line or at a booth set up. Future expansion, I really see that as the program evolves, there's a potential for local hotels and motels to serve as ticket vendors. This will create an added value service for their guests and provide another convenient option for purchasing beach passes. Now, I'd like to say this, remember, we're not reinventing the wheel. There's communities all across our country, all across the world who have this program. We're just a little bit behind. So some of the community economic benefits: support for local businesses by providing local vendors with the opportunity to resell passes. The program will help increase foot traffic and potential sales for these businesses. This creates a mutual benefit relationship between the Navigation District and local businesses. It's a great opportunity for the Maritime Program, not only engage in a valuable community service, but they'll benefit for fundraising opportunities. They can be used for future program needs. Hands-on experience will help raise public awareness about the Maritime Program and its mission. These are not your average kids. All of these kids have gone through training. The Maritime Program students are already insured through the Sea Scouts, who the Maritime Program has worked with. This also streamlines operation for the navigation. It allows y'all to maintain your no cash policy at the beach, and the navigation will reduce operational challenges and risk associated with handling cash, and I think that's why we're here. Vendors can process transactions quickly and efficiently. Navigation District can focus on smooth beach operations. Like I said, the Chamber will handle the vendor recruiting and training. The marketing can be done through the website and through the Chamber. The program will be monitored. Y'all can always cut it off if it's not doing what you're doing. I really think this is a great opportunity for the community, for the Navigation District. It's a way to turn the corner and to really move forward. The Maritime Program is ready to take on this responsibility, spring break, and I'd hope that you guys, we've talked about it, and I hadn't gotten any pushback from anybody in the Commissioners Court or the court so far, so I'd like you to do this. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. And into the first items for deliberation. Deliberate and possible action delaying implementation of proposed cashless payment system for the ACND by Chairman Moore on January 27th, 2025. Mr. Wright, I got one question before you go on. What payment system was proposed in that meeting that you want to postpone?
No cash at the beach park.
Well, there's no system was said. We just said we're either gonna take cash or not. So there's no system. And so, the item is flawed. And since there's no system, we can't talk about a system.
I don't intend to talk about a system.
Well, that's what, I figured that was the case, and that's what's on the agenda, so, but what I do suggest is that we, schedule a workshop for 3/12 next Wednesday, and have a workshop and look at solutions and what's on the table, and then we can do an agenda item that gives you the ability to, vote it up and down. We voted up or down to either go cashless or not go to cashless, and we voted to go cashless. The whole board did that. So, and no system was proposed by me.
Can we talk about the whole, we can't talk about cashless in
Nope.
general?
Nope, we gotta move on. But it says a system. There is no system.
Process?
Nothing, but that's not it. It's not a process.
Mr. Chairman,
Let him
I
explain.
don't agree with that assessment. We have a dual system at the beach park, and we have a dual system here at the counter. And that system is to take credit card payments and cash. There are both systems for the handling of money in exchange for a beach pass. So I think it's reasonably worded, Mr. Benedum.
Well, I think the discussion, whether or not there is a system, seems to be within the item. And let me just comment on the test, let's say, and it'll be exact here, is whether or not the subject that's listed on the agenda is adequate to advise any member of the public that you might be talking about whatever that subject is. So it doesn't take a lot of detail, but it does require alerting somebody. Joe says out here that if he's interested in that, he should come in and listen, or he'll have the opportunity. And so here you're talking about cashless and a system. It seems to me that to give adequate notice to discuss that narrow aspect of it. You know,
I think we gave it a 90-day trial, didn't we?
Yeah, I would love to speak on it.
Yeah, but it's not, we didn't
Shorten it.
propose a system. We said we're not gonna take
Before spring
cash.
break?
So if y'all wanna vote, I mean,
This is just,
it's a formality, there's no doubt about it, but we can't propose solutions.
So we're gonna call a special meeting for that?
Well, we have to if we're gonna have solutions.
but, okay.
the action on the agenda is deliberate and possible action to delay the implementation.
No, that's not what it is. It's to propose cashless payment system for the ACND by Chairman Moore on January 27th. I did not propose a system. Go ahead.
He calls it a system, I guess.
Well, all right, so the question of whether or not you propose a system is the second matter. So, well, you asked my opinion on it.
Come on, man.
My opinion is, y'all can discuss whether or not there's a cashless system and whether or not to delay it. I think we can do that. If you, as chairman, want to table the item, then I suggest that you take a vote and find out if the commission wants to move forward with it.
And it should be rewritten as well. So I propose we table the item. We have a workshop where we can discuss solutions and problems with cashless or non-cashless, and then an agenda item that we can make a decision.
All right, so your proposal
But the other side of it, it's flawed, because no system was proposed. We need to just kill it.
He calls it a system, that's what we implemented, that's just a simple.
Mr. Chairman, you made a ruling of the interpretation of the item. That's a chair ruling. I take it Mr. Wright has raised a point of order objecting to your ruling. You need to vote on the motion, the point of order, and which encompasses ultimately your question of postponing and having a workshop. Because if you vote in favor of the point of order, you're gonna take it up right now. You vote against the point of order, you're probably gonna decide to have this workshop where you talk about all of it next week. So that's kind of where you are.
Do we need a motion for a point of order, or I ask for a vote
The
on
point
the
of
point of
order is
order?
already on the floor. If there's a second to the point of order, then you take it up and have a discussion.
Anybody want to second the point of order?
So,
Okay. So it's not seconded, it's closed, or is everybody in for a 3/12, Wednesday 3/12 workshop and agenda item to solve this, or?
We're gonna be gone. I mean, when I get to, we've got workshops, we've got seminars, none of us will be here.
Why have to be to the 12th? Can we go any?
I mean, we can do it any time. I just think we ought to get it done, because what we're trying to do is get ready for spring break.
Get together and set a date, and then instead of he doing this, he doing that, let's set a date and let's get it over with on the next workshop.
I have an additional, excuse me, Lon,
Go ahead.
finish.
Go ahead.
I'd like to bring up another item, and that is, you made the motion to table the item. It was not seconded, therefore you
I
can't
did
table
not
it.
make a motion to table the item. I asked for a motion.
Then you didn't get that.
Right. So
Okay.
we're gonna kill it, and we didn't get a second for your point of order.
No, we didn't ask for that.
Yes, I did. All right, we asked for a second for it to vote on it.
Let's table it. till
And nobody
next
seconded it.
workshop.
So, if the 12th is not good, what is? Then spring break starts the next week. And we had a possible solution for the cash situation.
No, we don't.
Oh,
I would like to go back and ask Mr. Benedum what his answer was as I understood it, make sure that I did. You said, is there enough language in this for the outside entities, people, we have some people here in the audience, for example, is it sufficient enough to carry out what the intent of that was? Is it, Mr. Benedum?
You have a subject matter, yes, you have a subject matter that says you want to talk about a cashless system. I mean, if I'm a member of the public, obviously you're going to be talking about some kind of a cashless system. Now, within that discussion here, apparently there is included, subsumed within it, the question of whether or not you have a system. But the point from the Open Meetings Act is, there's a citizen sitting here has some idea when she reads that notice that you're gonna talk about a cashless system.
But,
That seems pretty obvious you're gonna talk
but
about.
as it reads, there was no system that I proposed.
And so that's part of the discussion.
And that's a
Okay,
fact.
I'm gonna carry this conversation a bit further. We have a sign on the door that says, the Aransas County Navigation District is going cashless. Seems to me like something was implemented. And all I'm trying to do, Chairman, is to delay a problem that's going to exist when spring break starts.
We gotta have a workshop.
So you want to do it after the spring break, or have a workshop after spring break to try to
I want to
discuss it?
know
We cannot
why
vote on
if,
this item. We cannot action it, because there is no system that was proposed by me.
His interpretation of
As
system,
stated.
his interpretation of system is what is implemented.
Let me go back to my suggestion. In any deliberative body like this, a majority of you can decide whether or not you're going to address a certain issue, whether or not it's on the agenda. In this case, if it's not on the agenda, because of the Meetings Act, we can't go on, but here, you have a subject matter, there's something you can discuss under it. But I suggest, because of the controversy here, let's just get a ruling, there's
there's a point of order, and it needs to be seconded and voted on, right?
What you have proposed apparently to table the item. That was your.
Actually, just kill the item. Because there was no system proposed by Chairman Moore on that day.
Wish we had the minutes to confirm that.
Did you not propose that you were going to put the same general subject matter on a workshop? Let's get away from the technical aspects and just find out, does the majority of this commission want to go forward and discuss this item now or some other time? Treat it as a motion to table.
Okay, can we can we discuss possible solutions to remaining cashless that we voted on?
Repeat your question.
We're gonna hear why we shouldn't do it, okay? And can we discuss reasons we should do it?
Wait a minute. That's not true.
Then the question whether or not to delay it.
Thank you. The operative word is delaying implementation, not killing it.
That's right.
So if I may make the motion, I believe that the wording is absolutely accurate. I don't remember who proposed it. You obviously think you do, but I don't understand the belligerence, Mr. Chairman.
There is no belligerence.
No, of course not.
It
I make a
says-
motion that we consider what I meant when I wrote this,
Which is your-
other than,
Which is your point of order?
correct.
Okay, and do we have a second and a vote on the point of order? No, the item's dead. On the
Second.
number 2. Consider possible action.
Hold on just a minute.
I would second it.
She didn't say it loud enough, but
Yeah.
she seconded. Judy did.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Correct? Commissioner Vlasic?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of moving on and discussing the item?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay?
Aye.
There's 3. What are you gonna do?
Nate? 3-2, you gotta do it.
We need to talk
Okay.
about this.
Okay,
So go ahead, Mr. Rob.
thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. By the way, Mr. Hutt, thank you for this. This is one of the things that would have come up, and I'll let you cover it, so that's good. The only issue for me here is, I think I jumped the gun in asking for a cashless system to be put in place before spring break. Although I didn't say before spring break, the date makes it that, and I think we will create for ourselves a problem. So, as the wording is here, delaying implementation at the beach park is all I wanted to do. Let's delay it until after the July 4th weekend, or if we solve some of the problems that I have encountered at this, maybe earlier. But for the purpose of setting a date as to we will not do so before at the beach park, my logic was, don't implement it till after July 4th. The number of holidays that the beach swells up drop to 1 at that point. Here are the problems and why I asked that this be considered. We have problems with communications with the kiosk credit card machines, as I understand it. I don't know whether it's the credit card machines at this moment in time or whether it is a line problem. In any event, that needs to be solved. If we go to a cashless system and the system doesn't work, we got a problem, and we created it, or I created it. So I just am asking that we delay implementation. We can still take credit cards at the beach, provided that it works. We're just not going to force people to do so.
What is the percentage of credit versus cash on any given?
I think Keith can answer that.
I can talk on this. I've sat in that booth. My staff sits in that booth every single day. Part of the reason why, there's 3 new members on this board, you know why we built the second booth? We built the second booth because we were getting more credit cards going into the first booth, and it backed the line up. Credit card is slower. No matter what we want to think, using a credit card is much slower and it slows down the traffic. So we built a second booth. Now, since the implementation of the second booth, we are still taking cash. Right now, we're at about 50-50. 50% cash, 50% credit. Right now, because of the two booths, and because we run three, a morning shift, a midday, and an afternoon shift, the only time we really back up down the highway is in between 11 and 3 on the busiest days. Any other days, we can keep that thing down to where it's not backing up. What you don't realize is we will still have to do everything we do that we have cash. We will have to make out all the tills. We make out a morning till, a midday, and an evening. Why? Why do you say we need to go have money in tills? Is because we never know the day, time, and hour that we lose our systems. Right here, we've even lost a server because we have, ever since the hurricane, we have power surges and connection problems. I don't know when those connection problems or power surges are gonna happen, but I can tell you if it happens on a day that we work 365 days at the booth. So we will have to be prepared as every day that we're going to have a power surge or a non-communication that day because we have to keep the line moving. We've had at least 2 of our very most experienced people that are set at that booth, the ones who we give the holidays to because they're the most efficient, come in and say it's going to cause a problem. We still ask, we prefer card, but there is a lot of people that still use cash, especially for small purchases. They don't want to swipe their card for $10. I can tell you, my office is right across from the girls in here. I have to go across the hall at least once a day and break up. Generally, it's an older gray-haired man who is eating up our staff over there because they read off the bill and push it up against the glass saying, this is eligible to pay your bills, legal tender, and this is a governmental office. I have to basically go over there and say, ladies, just take his money and get him out of here. That's still happening out there because they say we prefer. You know how fast we can hand out a ticket and take a $10 bill? It's like this. The wheels of the cars barely even stop rolling. Now, when you do a card, oh, let's swipe it. Oh, it didn't go. Let's rub it on your shirt. Let's swipe it. It didn't go. Oh, you have to put your PIN number in. You have to hand them the PIN. Oh, some people go, oh, I want my receipt with that. Hit, has to print. Every 30 seconds to a minute that it takes longer to move that car, we back up the line. And how I know that? The chief of police came and talked to me about it. These vendors and other people who have businesses along here. We don't have a problem, guys. We move these cars faster than we've ever moved them in the history of the district. I think having people, though I'm very supportive of the Maritime Club, having kids running in and out of the line, selling tickets ahead of the booth, I think is a recipe for problems.
Well,
And that's just my take and what I'm getting from the public. I'm gonna say, I get my ass ate on this every day.
so what I'm hearing is your system is insufficient to handle what we do, period, because they line out to the road on those days anyway. So that needs to be looked at, which would also need to be looked at to make sure we have a sufficient solution.
Our system, and I've talked to the DPS, because the DPS call and go a little wild on me as well.
I'm talking about your communications.
But our communications, I wish we could do that. ACND dropped us for 3 days the other day. The issue is I have northbound and southbound 35s and Seabreeze all abutting into a road where they have to slow down and go into one lane that goes to 20 miles an hour. There's not a road in the state of Texas that will push traffic through without a bottleneck in that certain condition. But we have broke it up. We do have the 2 booths. We do have multiple people working those booths. And we do push that line very quickly. But connectivity problems, and just the fact that people just don't want to give their card is real.
Okay, well, what about the other side of that? The people that don't want to pay cash, that don't pay cash.
Oh, we can take their card all day.
But what if it's the system?
If it's down, then they have to pay cash.
But you see my point. So we have a problem there, and we also have a solution. The one thing that nobody's talking about is why we went cashless, which is missing money.
That's not true.
It is
That
true.
is no longer true.
That wasn't part
That
of my
was a
proposal
problem.
either.
That was a problem 3
Why
years.
did, why
two
did
or-
4 of us vote cashless?
I
Just
think,
saying.
I think it was,
Okay.
I think that decision was made without sufficient evidence. We've since found out that our system, yes, at one time, we had a problem with missing money. Now then, according to internal documents, we now have about $400,000 to $425,000 in cash, goes through the booth, and we've missed $500 last year. That's
No,
one
well,
tenth of 1%
How
of,
do you know?
because that's our internal records.
One thing
But
that
we
happens
also know
with
what our
that
internal records said before.
is we have 40.
We have a new system that we
We
can
have
put in place.
$40 passes, and we have free passes for veterans that are disabled. If that attendant writes down that that was a free pass and it doesn't match up or didn't write down, he's $40 off right there. Just by a swath of a pen not checking the right box.
Which is an insufficient system. Any of y'all can make a motion at this point to accept cash and change that. I don't think it works, but that's
The
the way
language
it
in the
occurs.
agenda item is delay, and I'm going to call for the question because we've now been at this for 30 minutes, which is the time limit according to decorum.
Roll on, man. Make a motion.
I call for the question.
You make a motion that we delay this item.
Yes, yes, ma'am, I did that to begin with. I'm
Right.
sorry, I
And-
will
and I'll-
restate
I'll-
it. That we delay it until after the July 4th weekend
Or
at a
longer,
minimum.
Or longer.
As
because-
we will revisit it between now and then, you could very well be right. We're not going to say it will
We'll
be
do our workshop
implemented.
in between.
Right.
Okay,
But this proposal from Jeff is pretty cool.
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My suggestion is let Jeff, you propose this. And
Well,
let Jeff do what you laughing at?
No, you're right on.
I mean,
I'm
let-
with you
let-
100%.
Okay, Jeff proposed this, to let him take care of this and see what his report is within a couple of months. And then we go from there.
And we'll look at that, and we'll look at a lot of solutions. Obviously, a lot of solutions need to be put in place and fixed.
Right,
And yeah, I'm
because it's
just,
too close to
yeah.
the spring breakers and all that, we, all of a sudden we go, oh, we don't want no more cash. Because cash is 3.99%. For $10, you gotta pay extra $4. Cause I know my bait shop, people come up there like, oh, $8, and I have to pay $4 more? They don't want it.
For your credit card use?
They don't wanna use the credit card.
That's what
They
I
don't
said,
wanna
that's
use the
for credit
ATM
card
either,
use.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're a small town, people come over here to go fishing, have some fun. If you take credit card only, I can go over there and park right in front of the beach. I walk all the way down there, I meet my friend, I've saved me $10.
Or
So I'd rather
14.
take that cash money and let them drive all the way down there.
So we have a motion on the table to delay
To delay it.
And I'll
the
second that.
cashless. We got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay?
Nay.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Sorry it took so long.
The announcement is what? That we're gonna delay it?
We're gonna delay it.
Okay.
We do delay.
Consider,
Clarify it.
man, we've got a lot, and we'll set a workshop in between, and we'll get the job done one way or the other.
Yes, sir.
Consider possible action to release request for proposals for stormwater pollution protection devices and methods for Concho Street drainage. This will be a high-level technology overview based on current parameters from multiple engineering firms to enable the Stormwater Technical Committee to evaluate possible solutions as soon as possible. We have proposed, and what this is, it's an overview. Pete Peters' group has set up some engineering firms that are interested in proposing solutions. Basically, it's a free feasibility study and an education for everybody involved. And we have submitted that to the county. It is stuck in their legal department, according to Mr. Siebert. And the city has typically been unwilling to push forward on these. What I'm thinking is we put forth a very cost-effective RFP and get various solutions, high level. We'll get, can it be done? We'll get different ways of doing it, and then we'll get an idea of what it's gonna cost so that we can move forward. According to the agreement that we're gonna take up after our closed meeting with the city, we have to get to a chosen solution by the Stormwater Technical Committee and release the RFP and move forward on it. And this is a good way to get everything in front of everybody real quick so that we can move as fast as we can. And that's why I propose it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
under the terms of the contract which y'all, which y'all are trying to work out with the city,
I wish you would get up here and talk, because I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you.
You're soft-spoken as it is, Jerry.
under the terms of the agreement which y'all are working out with the city, and Mr. Taggy can speak to this, it's the county's function to go out for proposals. And I recommend that you not delve into that directly yourself. The very terms of the contract, Mr. Chairman, say the county will do that function. So if you start that function yourself, you're either interfering with what they're going to do, or you're doing something that's just going to duplicate that. And the proposals you'll get may not even be of any value to anybody, because some granting authority that wants to provide money for this is going to expect that the county would be, or the city would be, the party that has to go out for the RFQ. That's my, I just don't see an advantage to y'all in putting effort and resources into this dead end.
And Mr. Tuggy, would you like to address what the agreement says?
Yeah, this is a little bit out of order because we're gonna cover this in detail when we go into the interlocal, as reported. Thank goodness, it looks like we have an agreement there. We'll go over that. But part of that, as Mr. Benedum correctly pointed out, that agreement calls for the county to start this process. What we're trying to do is fast forward the process. I've talked to the county attorney's office. Actually, the county attorney's office has its own opinion about the county's current RFP that's out. They have agreed and told me, however, that.
Request for engineering qualifications.
Yeah, they put a pool RFQ out. The county did. Their own attorney is raising questions to me about its authority for that. That's a matter between them and their bosses, the commissioners, and not our business. What is our business, as Jerry pointed out, under the agreement, the county is to be the party that puts out this RFP. What we're trying to do, what we're getting authority from you today, is for us to develop a draft RFP, go over to the county, get the county's agreement. We're gonna bring the agreement over there as well, because they are to be a party to that agreement. So simultaneously, if you authorize this today, we go over to the county, work with them. The county attorney has already told me, from their point of view, this is the commissioner's decision, of course, county commissioner's decision. From the county attorney's point of view, they have no problem with the idea that if you have an RFP, the county could join it, thus bringing us into compliance under the agreement. What we're trying to do here is fast track as quickly as possible that RFP process, but reliably, so that we get a solid proposal. So that's all this is about. It's not to go outside the terms of that agreement. It's to go inside the terms of that agreement with the county. We're not gonna go out on our own and do this RFP. To make it comply with the agreement, we've gotta take it over to the county.
And this is totally, I'm just totally non-binding. It's like you're gonna go look at 3 or 4 different plumbing services or cars, and what it does is it enables us to get this forward so we can get a good solution. And since we're gonna go hustle up the money, I think we ought to give the best solution possible. And I think we can take a leadership role here, and it's just to get it more. The current plan, when we proposed this to the county engineer, is to spend $30,000 on one guy to design one solution and go. Now, if we can, and they still can't do it because they don't have an engineering firm to get it done, okay, it's bogged down. So if we go forward with this, which is all set up, we were ready to do it in a week if we can get the information. We need a little bit of city information. There's not really any info. Oh, the information from the county is, do we really get to use that property? That it's county owned right next to it to do a stormwater prevention solution there. And Commissioner Casterline brought that up. Do y'all have any input? Is that within this realm here? Y'all go?
Mr. Tuggy, I have a question when she gets through. Don't let me forget.
Don't run off.
Don't run off. I'm learning a lot here. Thank you. So one thing, the county attorney unfortunately does not report to the county commissioners. They are their own entity, and they remind us of that continually. I wish they did report to us. We might get better service.
Quite aware.
That being said, I will be glad to check on this. I know we have a stormwater meeting this afternoon, and we can maybe visit about this a little bit here. Anything that expedites that process, I'm in favor of. There's another commissioner here. We're not going to take any formal action or try to get a consensus going, but we want to move projects forward. So we will see if there's some way to do that, and maybe we can talk about the stormwater meeting too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's on that side. On this side, can we move forward? Do we have is there a concern of doing this by any of the commissioners?
There may be, if I may ask Mr. Tuggy a question. Looking at page 2 of the agreement, or 4A, I think is what you referenced, are you saying that us going for a high-level overview is not in conflict with this, where it says the county will?
Not if we, what we're going to do is develop an RFP document, then take it over to the county, get the county's agreement
Which will be the county engineer,
to adopt that, well, through the county engineer, ultimately to the commissioners. Get them to adopt this. We're gonna go over simultaneously, by the way, assuming you give us authority to do it today, with the interlocal agreement as well. We're gonna go over and say, here's an interlocal, and here's an RFP proposal we'd like you to sign up with us on,
Okay.
and you and us put it out.
That was my only concern, is
That's it.
were we stepping on their toes potentially?
No, we're gonna do it lockstep with them.
And we have a draft parameter document and a scope of work done that y'all can submit in the meeting today. Mr. Cheney? Welcome.
Forgive me.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Forgive me for not being in my commissioner uniform. But, I'm
You're
fixing
not
to go
wearing a
work.
suit and tie?
I'm not gonna do no
Like
suit
you
and
ever
tie.
do?
Jack Cheney, County Commissioner, Aransas County Precinct 1 and 1A. The idea of sending something that will move this forward is very enticing. The commissioners, to my understanding, and please, Commissioner Russo can correct me if I'm wrong, but the thing we want is this to go through. We want this to be done. There are other things. Right now, this is the elephant in the room, okay? We've got to get that elephant fed and out. And the county has taken kind of a, not really a laissez-faire, but has taken kind of a hands-off on this because it is between the city and it is between the NAV district here. But we want whatever's best. So if the NAV district wants to spend the money to get an option on the table, I know I wouldn't necessarily be against it. I'm not going to speak for any of the rest of the commissioners, but if we can get this thing done, we'd like to get it done. And whatever it takes to get it done is what I think we'll back. It is not 100% sold by any of the commissioners that I'm aware of, because we have not taken it up. But it is an idea, and it is something that shows good faith effort on all parts, and I appreciate the city for his comments and the fact of, you know, if it'll help get it done, let's get it done. So I would say it's probably a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question. Do you foresee any expense that we will have for this RFP?
Minimal. Mr. Peters, would you like to address that, Mr. Bowman?
Well, I missed the question.
Well, the expense to get this RFP out? Get in there.
Pass the buck. Morning, Commissioners. David Balmos with WSB Engineering. So we have a lot of documents that have been created over the past several months related to condemnation suits, related to setting a rate. So there's a lot of engineering information that has been developed. This RFQ, in order to make it a very tight, communicative, defining the problem, what I want to do is pull that information together, and really what I'd like to do is take one of my drawings that shows the drainage areas and bring some information that's in the city's master drainage plan and put it all in one place so that we can very clearly define the problem, so engineers don't have to go searching for it as they're responding to the RFQ. And to answer, I think the question you want to ask is how much would all of that cost? About $2,000, $2,500 of my time to put that together.
That's reasonable. So if I understand this correctly, then the RFP will go out and the people who want to respond will not necessarily have to be here in town and walk the land property. They'll just look at the documents?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's adequate information on paper with the data that I've put together, that the city has, a lot of other information I've pulled together. I think that nobody has to come walk it physically.
Okay.
Chairman, on advertisement, when everybody says putting it out to me means a lot different. Because we have to hit, of course, our local paper has to carry it as this is the community in which we live. But where are we gonna try to put this advertisement out to meet the requirements of the grant?
There's no action. This is not any kind of binding action, so it's not any, we don't have to advertise it. Pete's explain what you got going.
Once it's done, Pete, there are any number of industry publications where we can put out the RFP. I've already talked to 11 different firms that would be interested in a project like this.
So we could send this information directly to them?
We'll
We
send
could
it
send
to
this
them. We'll
directly
send it
to them?
And then we'll advertise it as well.
Okay, so what kind of cost do you think we would have for advertising in these publications? I know that.
None,
perf-
zero.
Zero?
Unless the Rockport Pilot charges us something.
Well, they will, of course.
Okay, so that's a couple $100, but none of the industry publications charge you.
Oh, okay.
So we're advertising for like months or just a couple of days?
Couple of days.
Couple of
I would
days.
think this would get done within 30 days.
You think?
And keep in mind, the reason I proposed it, we are getting a super cost-effective feasibility study or plan on this. An engineer might go, you're never gonna do that. And so we go, okay, but another engineer goes, we're gonna do it this way. Another engineer goes, we're gonna do it this way. So the Stormwater Technical Committee has the ability to look at various solutions and move forward. The next step, when we have all these solutions and the county gets their RFQ done for the qualifications on engineers, and we're going to have to do that separate according to the county engineer. We can't join on to that, which is fine. We just give to the same people and say, give us the same answers and it'll work. But what that does is that gets us to the next step to choose a solution and then pay to get it taken care of. An engineer, correct? And it gives we have the ability to move fast, get it in front of the Stormwater Technical Committee while all this stuff is brewing in the back. Other than that, we're sitting and doing nothing.
So Judy, the commissioner, right?
That's okay.
I'm sorry. So the long and short of it, you spent whatever Mr. Balmos wants to professionally put the RFP together. You spent no money till an engineering firm is selected, and
Okay.
they tell you exactly what it's gonna cost, and they list their fee, and they list the construction cost. then you can vote that up or down.
Okay. No, I just didn't want us to get into another $10,000 expense on doing this.
No, I wouldn't.
But 2 or 3, yeah, 2 or
And there's
3,000.
no
cost
reason
enough
you
already.
couldn't split it, you know, that absorbing that cost.
Thank you, thank you.
Anyway, anybody else, questions, comments? A motion to,
I make a motion to approve the release of a request for proposals for stormwater pollution protection devices and methods for the Concho Street District, and with all the technical overviews for the perimeters from multiple engineering firms to enable the Stormwater Committee to evaluate possible solutions as soon as possible.
I'll second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And
Deliberate possible action. Interesting. The additional amount payable for the 2022 audit to Collier, Johnson and Woods, PC approved by prior action of the commission. If you remember, we talked about this last meeting. We asked Mr. Tuggy to look into Collier, Johnson and Wood. Did we owe them any more money? And what we ended up finding was we engaged with Collier, Johnson and Wood. They did the proposal. They estimated the cost on that in their engagement letter to be about $44,000. They came back with an email under the heading of Collier, Johnson and Woods from Adam Miller asking for an additional $18,000. Also said that this would reduce our costs going forward. In that email, we voted to go ahead and let them recoup some of their time and effort, which I have never seen any time and material or whatever billing. All we've seen is this percentage. Well, and then it ends up that, do we have an invoice, an actual invoice from Adamson?
We do now.
Okay, so what has happened is, in the middle of all this, Adam Miller and his audit team have moved to a new firm, and the invoice is from the new firm. And we don't have an engagement for 2022 from this new firm. I think there's some ethics situation. Collier, Johnson and Wood has no payable for us that we owe them any money. And so another company is asking for money on an audit that was done before. I think at minimum, we need an explanation from Mr. Miller and permission from Collier, Johnson and Woods to put forth money on what was done on their engagement to another firm.
Yes.
Your executive director is already in contact with Collier Johnson Wood to get that signed.
What do you think?
I sent a letter Friday, basically saying, as Mr. Tuggy found out, that we are paid in full to Collier, Johnson and Woods. During that separation, my question was, did they have any residual work that went over to the new firm that they were eligible to bill for? And that's what we're waiting for now. That just went out on Friday afternoon. And if they say yes, no, or in between, once I get that information back, I'll present it to the commission.
So, go ahead.
When the sale happens like that, you have to have paperwork to show that anything that has been carried on by one company gets carried on to the second one, am I correct?
Yes,
And that's what
That's what we're working on.
Okay,
So I think
And we've already approved the payment, correct?
yes.
Yeah, but now we just gotta make sure we're paying it to the right.
Yeah, we thought we
Exactly.
were approving it to Collier, Johnson and Woods, so, motion to table this until we
I move
get
that we table this
the
item.
information? Got a
I
motion?
second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
I guess I can table it anyway, I wanted to do it, so, okay.
Number 4.
Yeah, I've lost my agenda in my pile of paperwork. It is right there. Okay, consider and possible action, a request for proposals for 2024 audit. The audit will begin immediately after the 2023 audit is complete. We are behind the 8 ball with these audits. The email from Adam Miller, Collier, Johnson and Wood said it was going to make our future audits more refined and more responsible. We've been in the $40,000 range on 2022, and now Adam Miller with his new firm, and we have approved it, is at $90,000. And so we need to get these audits done. Y'all approved it. I voted against it, but that's fine. But what I propose is we go out for bids because we can't do 2024, but we get ahead of the curve here and be able to move forward with a more cost-effective solution, if possible, for 2024.
How do you get 90,000?
I don't have that engagement, but that's how much their engagement letter
That's in the
states,
letter?
up to $90,000.
I didn't bring.
I remember that, the
Yeah,
last meeting,
that's what
those
it is.
numbers.
Yeah, which is just unbelievable for a $5 million company with 35
Well,
employees.
that's a yes and no. One project alone was more than our entire budget of 24. We're in the middle of all the FEMA stuff related to these last couple audits. That's what's taking the time and and I know Pat and them know, that is a big deal and it covers a lot of information and.
Is that the past or the future?
Well, both. Right now, we're in the middle of multiple year, some of these projects spread over multiple years. Once we get out of all this FEMA reporting and all of that intense audit work, then we're gonna go back to what Tommy said, $4 million budget, 35 people.
I thought we were
But
done with that.
We're definitely not there right yet.
We're not done? I thought you said we were done with the last audit,
Well, we're on.
unless it was my mistake.
We haven't
2022.
even started 2023.
We're on the 2023, but these projects rolled across multiple years.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of work to do that. If you see all these boxes and papers and stuff everywhere, that's what we're in the middle of. Now, once we get out of that and we just comes back to our normal stuff that we had pre-Harvey, yeah, it'll go back to a relatively inexpensive audit, but right now, this is tough going.
So,
I think also in that particular year, you're talking about 23, you're going to have a required additional audit because of the level of FEMA reimbursement.
A single audit.
So you have what's called a single,
And all that's true.
single item audit. It's additional to your standard audit.
But I haven't heard anything as a reason not to go forward with an RFP so that we're ready for 2024.
I think that if we go shopping and the word gets out on the street that we are jumping ship with an audit team after just 2 years engagement, what will that do to our reputation? I think that, how will we be able to go to a different audit team and say, well, we want you to engage you for another 2 years? No one's gonna do that.
So
It will not. I mean, Jack, you have some thoughts on that.
Yes, I do.
Would you like to weigh in?
Yes, please. First off, there was a comment made, Keith, and it may have been Martin. Who said we haven't started on the 2023 audit yet?
who said it?
Yes.
Well,
Somebody here said it.
They
I think it
haven't
was me.
started it.
It was me.
Okay, then
No,
I'm
they've,
at-
you've
just-
started, we've started
Well,
work on it.
I want to answer that first. That table back there is what is the start of the 2023 audit. And they have been gathering that information, so I wanted to correct that first. Gathering the information is the first and most important step. It was the biggest delay in the 2022 audit, was getting stuff timely. Now that we know what this firm is looking for, it should be much easier and our results should be better. Now, as far as weighing in on going for proposals, I told Commissioner Moore, Chairman Moore, that I would start that process, but I have to say with objections. And I'll tell you what my objections are. The firm of Adamson and Company acquired the auditing team of Collier, Johnson and Woods. I worked for Charter Bank for 16, almost 17 years, and they've done the audit of our bank for before I went there. And I know most of the people on that auditing team, and I know their work. So I would say that to categorize them as a different firm is not accurate. They have a different name on their letterhead, but it's the same people. And the bank that I worked for and that I get my stock bonuses from will be that same auditing team when they do it. And I echo exactly what you said, Ms. Vlasic, is that running a flag up the pole that says we're looking for another audit firm sends a message that in the scuttlebutt below the surface will say, what is wrong? And I don't know that we want to say what is wrong, because there isn't anything. But the best way to convey that message is to stick with the firm that did one that was extremely costly and time-consuming. If they produced the 2023 audit in the time frame that they've estimated, which is 4, maybe 5 months, that we get a comfort level for what the 2024 audit will look like with the same people who have familiarity. If we don't get our documentation to them and they don't, and/or they don't produce the audit within that same time frame, we still have an opportunity to pull up and go for the next audit for a different firm if it is the commission's desire. I just don't propose it right now for any reason.
So you're worried about you're gonna hurt an accounting firm's feelings?
No, sir. And I think
Our
that's-
reputation.
That's poorly worded.
I don't think so.
Well, I wouldn't expect you to
Okay.
think so, Tommy, but it is. They don't have feelings. They have a professional service to render for which they get paid.
Okay.
I totally agree with you, Jack, and I think it's not their feelings, it's our reputation that is my concern. If we get the reputation of every 2 years we're going to go with a new audit team, who wants to bid on that? Who would want to come do business with us? Because it's stated very clearly that the first year, they often do not monetize or receive all of the money for the time that they put in, and they expect to make up some of that in the following years. And we're saying, no, we're gonna take that cheap year, and you're not gonna be able to make up that money in the following
Or are
years.
they not competing? They know
did
more
not
about
say
us
they're
than
not.
anybody. And here's the big problem, okay? In September, because of these audits, and these audits going on and on and on, and not coming in on time, we lost our bond rating. We took a notch down. We are right now, we have submitted documents to the rating firms, okay? We are in jeopardy of losing our rating 100%, okay? So all I'm trying to do, like on the solutions for the Stormwater Management Committee, is be ready to go, rock and roll, and get all this back on, because we're gonna wanna get our bond rating. If we lose it, we're gonna wanna get it back, and if we don't lose it, we're gonna wanna get it back up. So that is why I brought this up, so.
Don't you think that the faster way to do that would be to continue at least for a third year with the same audit firm? They come in, they know our people. If we jump to another audit firm, then they start all over again, getting to know our process, getting to know our people. That delays that process.
And if I may echo you, Ms. Vlasic, the importance here is continuity.
Yes.
If we don't get what the audit firm has committed to for their problems, then we look. If we don't get the answers that we're looking for in the timely fashion because we didn't produce the things that they need, it's a different problem. But either way, I don't think you want to signal at this point in time that we want to go out and look for another auditing firm simply because we don't like the way the last one turned out. We were our own worst enemy in the last one.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. Okay,
Could we table this and discuss this?
We've already discussed it.
yeah, there's no reason to table it, I don't think, just no action.
Say one more.
We'll accept that, right?
Okay?
Consensus for no action. We'll go ahead and move on. No action taken on number 4, the 2024 audit. Deliberate and possible action for ACND to participate in the Aransas County project. TDM award for Little Bay drainage improvements. Project has anticipated local funding of $1.1 million. And we voted to table this last time. You guys wanted some more information on it. And there you go.
And here we go. I'll tee that off. And we did get the final, we got the drawings. I asked Janine to put that whole set of plans on the screen, but this is really a highlight of what we're talking about. When you look at the white or highlighted area that has the hatch in it, that's where the proposed rock is going to go. Now look at the overall width of the channel to where,
And this is Blevins going out into
This is Blevins.
the
Bay.
north end of Little Bay.
and we'll scroll down to Leggett here in a little while, but it's the same issue. There's the wall that the water runs up to now. So if you think about putting those rocks in there, look at how much it narrows that. Tommy, you probably go in and out Blevins more than the rest, and we go in and out of it doing maintenance. But look how that's going to narrow what we would call the sweet spot in that channel. Now when you start thinking about over time, having to dredge it, how are you gonna dredge just that spot with all that sediment piled up in those rocks? The amount of friction and reducing of the outward passage is considerable. And so instead of helping get water out, as this thing was basically called a drainage plan, it basically hurts our ability to get water out. Janine, let's flow down to,
Did they also include the bridge?
now here's the bridge.
Okay.
There's the existing riprap. Now they're going to basically put what they call a blanket of rock under the bridge. Now, as you know how we do most of our dredging now, it's mechanical. We take a big old arm and we scratch down there and dig it up. It's hard to do hydraulic dredging in our area because we have no place to basically put the discharge. So we do mechanical dredging. That would basically make dredging underneath the bridge impossible. So that would lead to, again, restricting the amount of flow going out. Then now that water is going to hit that next section that's restricted even worse. That is going to, in many cases, almost make that water that goes out Blevins Channel non-existent. Now let's go down and see if you can find Leggett. Oh, there's Leggett Channel. As you can tell, they're wanting to rock all along here, all along each side. That's going to basically slow that water as well. We only have 2 exit and entry points, and now we're talking about restricting the amount of water flow that's going to be able to escape Little Bay. We have 11 inflows, as Mr. Balmos will attest to, that go into Little Bay itself. If we have that much water entering Little Bay and we've restricted our outflow that considerable, I would have to say overtopping of Key Allegro and Rockport Beach is inevitable. It's gonna happen. My suggestion, just by looking at this, is to not take this project on. Now, if originally when this project was talked about, if the Navy District Board and I was involved in the planning, we probably would have come up with some different solutions. We would have probably talked about some widening and some deepening to increase the ability to get water out, not restrict it. But this is the plan that was decided upon by Mont McDonald and the county. And now they're asking us to put $1.4 million into doing this plan. And I think in reality, it will be a disaster.
And Keith, you're a marine construction professional and deep experience with this type of thing. I'm just poor old boat captain, and both of us think it's a bad idea. We just so happen to have a hydrologist here who can maybe weigh in on it. Are we on track that if you put rocks where you already have everything, it's just gonna slow the water down?
Well, it's gonna restrict it, and given the issues that we have in Little Bay today, and the failure or the inability to circulate water from Aransas Bay into Little Bay, I mean, anything that restricts it is gonna just compound the problem. And I'm having trouble understanding the justification for this, just looking at this for the first time.
You know, not counting the money that we'd have to expend on that. You know, I've shot myself in the foot a few times, but I never took aim and shot it on purpose. And I think this would be considered if we got another storm where all of that flow is going into Little Bay at high volumes through 11 outfalls, and that water can't get out. That is the community that's gonna face the repercussions of it, and I just don't think we double down.
What's gonna happen if we don't participate?
It's just gonna
It goes
cancel the
away.
project.
Cancel it out.
Yeah.
Now, once again, we have a $1.2 million flow study, which has bathymetrics. We got a lot of information that we can use as we move forward out of that, but that's already done. This is on top of that, using that.
The reason why this is so important and that we need a vote today to say up or down that we're gonna pursue this is tomorrow, there's a kickoff meeting for this very project and other projects within the county. I think it would only be right that if you're not gonna pursue this project, that you go ahead and make that feeling known to them so they can scratch that off of their project list.
Would either of the county commissioners like to weigh in? We have two commissioners here.
Well, there are two of us here. And it's good to get up and use my knees again. For so long, thank you.
I almost fell a while ago, Pat.
I know. So, I am not an engineer. My husband was a hydrological engineer. But I will say that when this was presented a few months ago, if it was even that long, that Tatum had finally started talking about it, and Jack might want to talk about this too. I wasn't so sure it was a good program or a good plan. What I was told was we can still accept the award letter and then later on decide that we don't want to go through with that program. I'm not sure why that would be a good idea. If we don't think it's a good plan, then why accept the award letter? But anyway, I agree with the assessments, and I'm not sure I knew there was a kickoff meeting tomorrow, so I'm learning all kinds of things here today. I'm glad I came. So that's what I have to say about it.
It's with Yolanda Cordona.
Okay.
I think they're gonna talk about various projects that the county have, and this one was included.
Well, I might be interested in some of those, but thank you for that. But I would say, I don't see a rationale for that. I mean, one thing we've been talking about is we need more ingress and egress of water to Little Bay. Why would we narrow the scope? And I believe that if we do that, that might also increase the speed, but I'm not the hydrologist, you know, as the water comes through there, so that could be a problem. Certainly, it seems like flooding would be a natural result of it.
Which this is, the idea is that it's gonna.
Just common sense, that's all it is.
I'd rather,
Commissioners, do y'all have need any more
There you go.
information?
I would just say, like to say, I would rather spend that $1.2 million in pursuing one of those additional outlets for Little Bay. I think that would be a better way to spend that money.
Well, the problem with that is they took that into consideration in the cost benefits analysis.
I
Did
know.
not put it on the table, so.
But I'm aware of that.
And I don't- that will
And
not
I'd like to
change.
recall that project. I think, Pat, we discussed that before, getting the Mott McDonald study that was done, what, 3 years ago?
On top of that, I mean, I
3 or 4.
guess I would say, wait, there's more.
Oh,
There's the fact that Mott McDonald is no longer practicing in our state or in our area. We would have to go out and re-procure an engineer, and that's not just going and cherry picking someone. We would have to put it out in a broad-based fashion that
Yeah.
meets all the FEMA requirements to acquire a new engineer. And then they, in turn, may take some bullet shots at this thing too, and the costs just continue to rise. So that 1.4 might be a light number when you
Yeah.
take all those into
No,
consideration.
we did not renew with Mount McDonald because they said they would not renew with us for those reasons. They're
Right,
not state anymore.
okay, so Jack would like to say something.
Yes, if it has to do with Mott McDonald, you need to move a different state because they're not doing any work in Texas at all. It looks to me like if you go ahead and if the Stormwater Committee or whomever is in charge of this goes ahead and does that, you just turn Little Bay into a sediment pond. And that's, you know, if you want it to where you can walk across Little Bay, that's a good idea to do that. But if you want it to where it's clear and clean and everything, you don't flush your commode on a smaller basin. You put a bigger drain line in. And putting any type of thing that would restrict either one of the channels or any other place that in the future would do, just doesn't really, to me, make any sense. You know, water's water, and it doesn't care how wide or how narrow it is, it's gonna go out. It just depends on the speed and how much stuff it's gonna dump out while it's doing it. And, you know, you say that you've got a pesticide problem, and I think you do. You know, if that pesticide staying in there 48 hours, it might stay in there 96 hours, and it's not gonna help anything. So
Okay.
I think it's a good idea.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney. I'd like to move on.
Yes.
And we've kind of hashed all this out, and we appreciate your statements. Can I get a motion to,
Would it be
turn this
permissible for me
down?
to ask 2 questions
Sure.
before we go? I was raising my hand. A
sorry.
couple times it's been 1.4 million. Is that the 1.14 that's in here?
1.14.
Yes.
Okay, and this is a Mott McDonald's estimate and design that they're no longer participating.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Do the people that are proposing this county, do they know what your issues are with this?
They do now.
They do now.
Okay, that's all the questions I had.
You make a motion or what?
I'll make a motion to, are we tabling this? Or we
No,
just
we're
did
gonna
not,
reject-
no
reject-
participation?
Reject the project.
Do not
My
participate.
motion is that we not participate in this particular study with the $1.14 million local contribution at risk.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we have voted not to proceed with
Correct.
that project. Okay. Harbor Master report.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it brief because we was a little long today.
10:15.
I wanted to bring up the fact that this vote was very important because I need to let those people know involved in that kickoff meeting that we're not kicking off with them. The next is on the 5th, there's a KEPRA workshop in Port A that I'm going to attend. I think Judy's asked to attend. On the 6th, we have our hazard mitigation workshop, which a lot of the entities in our county is participating in. We, Janine and I, have been working, answering, questioning, and getting data for a company called H2O that is the company that's putting together the hazard mitigation plan, hopefully to get it approved very quickly. And then we are in prep for spring break. You're gonna start seeing the additional portable toilets show up. We put in an extension to a water line with a new water meter down at the end of the beach in preparation for the big crawfish festival. But spring's coming. The weather has finally turned, and we'll be ready when that time comes. Of course, market days will be going on that same week. And we have other things that's gonna be happening, kite festivals and hoop and crane strut. So our community is waking up with this newfound
busy.
sunshine. So that's all I've got.
Good deal. I have got nothing at this point on an update with the environmentals.
I've got a question on, you need to hold on. A question to Harbor Master. I came on 2022 and I've been asking for a standard operating policy. And I get told that it's bogged down with the attorney. Did we ask you to check on that? Can you give me an up-to-date on that?
I don't have anything further. Our attorney is basically got that pushed through the other attorney's office, and that's where that's at.
Okay. The other question was, or the other question I have is, you were asked to produce a Aransas County Navigation District structure of the positions that you have.
Yes.
Have you done that?
Yes, and that will be presented to you on our next meeting. This was kind of just around these environmental issues.
Thank you.
What was the first report you asked for? What?
The standard operating policy that we
What?
have.
A handbook.
It's a
We
handbook.
do not have an
handbook.
employee handbook
Policy.
at this time.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
it clears up a lot of stuff and what they're allowed to do as far as the employees and stuff.
Yes, sir.
We don't have anything to have that.
It's in process.
It's been in process in
Thank you,
2022.
Mr. De Leon. Okay, we're gonna go into a closed meeting. Commission will recess this open meeting, conduct a closed meeting pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act to consultation of our attorney, deliberate real property, and to deliberate personnel matters. And
Press,
there is no press.
Jackson, the press
Jackson
chair.
Press.
It was in the press.
Okay, welcome back, and we're going to continue the open meeting. The number one item is deliberation of possible actions related to stormwater drainage into the waters within the ACND jurisdiction, including but not limited to permits for discharges, permitting fees, rate analysis, and potential agreements with Aransas County, City of Rockport, and other entities regarding stormwater drainage and structures. We have been working on an agreement, and we are very, very close, and what we want to do today is approve our version of this agreement to go back and get approved. And does anybody got any questions, comments? I will say I'm very excited that we're this close, and it looks like we're going to be able to move forward hand in hand.
Okay. I will move that regarding the interlocal cooperation agreement between and among the City of Rockport, Aransas County, and the Aransas County Navigation District. I would ask you to vote to approve in substance, in the form that was presented to the commission, including the changes on 5E as recommended by Mr. Tuggy.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second to push forward this agreement and approve it with the minor change to 5E. All in favor?
Aye.
Very exciting. Way to go.
Whew,
Okay.
long time coming.
Let's get a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.